What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. CLT Aviation 13 here with you guys for a very exciting video. This is my new 1-400 display of the A concourses at Charlotte Douglas. And just a little bit of background of why I chose this particular setup. I wanted to have something that didn't just encompass all the American flights here, but I wanted to incorporate, the majority of the other airlines that do serve Charlotte. So picking all the A concourse piers really does it justice. So you'll see every single airline that serves the airport in some capacity, and you'll kind of learn that knowledge as we go through the video. The goal of this video series, of course, is to continue on with the existing Charlotte Airport updates, and realism is a #1 thing for me, so I'm going to strive my best to keep everything almost to the T, honestly, just because it's just something I personally just prefer. Realism and the aesthetics that go along with it. So you'll see everything, American heavies, all the narrow bodies, OALs. You'll see the regional jets that taxi all the way from the E concourse over. But without further ado, we'll kind of do this video right to left for this particular one. We'll start with I like to call it the old A concourse, which is gates A1 through 12, followed by the two newer piers, which would be Alpha 22 all the way through Alpha 39, which will take us to the end of the video. And then we'll also have some airplanes on the taxiway that we'll go through. But as always, thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy today's video. Alrighty guys, so starting with the first pier of the A concourse, I just want to give a quick overview. So you're looking at a 12-gate concourse featuring 12 narrow body positions along with 3 wide body spots. Now, a little bit of a unique situation for how Charlotte does a lot of the wide body gates. I like to call them hybrid wide bodies. So for example, you see the Lufthansa 350 parked on A12, it'll block off the adjacent gate next to it. So Alpha 10 would be unavailable for a narrow body to park. Same for Alpha 8. Alpha 8 blocks Alpha 6. So you kind of get the pattern, but kind of gives me a unique opportunity to, depending on what time frame I base my videos off of, I can load those gates up with 777s and have some of the European flights. Or if I'm doing a video that's more in the earlier part of the day, I could fill that entire side up with the narrow body planes and have a lot of domestic or Caribbean international type flights. But so yeah, it gives us some new, gives us some opportunities to kind of keep things different and incorporate all parts of the operation in the video. So with that being said, let's go start with our new entrant, which I cannot be more thrilled to introduce them to an actual video. It's been forever since we ever had a Charlotte video. So doing one and being able to incorporate an Etihad plane is something I would not have guessed. I'm so blessed that they're here. It's been an amazing partnership with them so far. They've been wonderful to work with. Between their Etihad staff and working with us. They've been just a great group of people, and I hope to see many years of success from them. As it stands now, they operate 4 times a week on an A350-1000, and they do fly into the D concourse currently. They do land and offload on Delta 12. They depart from D12. I put them in the video, of course, because IRL, they always will take off on the center runway just based off of takeoff weights and just all the logistics that go into how far of a flight that is. So I do have the chance to throw them in these videos in this aspect. At some point when Abu Dhabi, when the pre-clearance does reopen, they will go to Alpha 12. So I'll be able to put them on a gate more often, have that set up. But anyways, here is Etihad flight 16 with nonstop service to Abu Dhabi. And next we will transition. I know this is, some of you are probably like, what is a Lufthansa 350 doing on the A concourse? So I love realism, as many know. So based on recent labor strikes in Germany, has kind of presented us with this opportunity where Lufthansa has been flying in from Munich. They land on D12, but their outbound flight cancels. The aircraft gets towed to the West Hardstand here. And the following day, or whenever they have a next operation, we've been having them tow over from the West Hardstand over to Alpha 12. So it gives me this unique, rare ability or rare opportunity to actually put a Lufthansa plane, Etihad, all the American wide bodies all in the same vicinity of each other, which will not happen a lot. So this will be kind of a very rare type configuration, but I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity and put these guys in here. So as with that being said, Lufthansa Flight 429 on Alpha 12 with nonstop service to Munich. Going up to our first American widebody, we have the flagship, the special retro livery. This is that 777-300 that was recently painted. I believe it was back in, I want to say it was like November of last year, November of 2025. They got that nice paint job on it. And we do currently, sorry about the camera, we do currently send this to London Heathrow. So for today's video, I got American Flight 730 with nonstop service to LHR. Previously, we were up to 2 daily 777-300 flights. I believe as of now, it bumped back down to just the one 777-300, but I believe, I want to say in the summertime, it kicks back up to the 2 733s along with the 777-200 for the third flight. So moving up to our next 777, this is the smaller version of it, the 777-200. This is operating flight 724 with nonstop service to Dublin. And now we will transition over to gate Alpha 1, where you will see a 319 getting loaded up. This is flight 2662 with nonstop service to Tulsa. And then pushing back from Alpha 3, I got an A321neo operating flight 358 to John Wayne. Then moving over to one of my favorites as well. I got a lot of favorites, but I do really like the Allegheny, of course. And just for the sake of the video and my love for Pittsburgh, I'm going to have the Allegheny 321 operating flight 1234 with nonstop service to Pittsburgh. Moving on down to an American Airlines 737-800 getting loaded up. This aircraft is operating flight 676 with service to Grand Rapids. And again, this is obviously another sentimental one for me, but this is obviously the Heritage US Airways A321 heading up to my good friend who's in Minnesota currently, but he originates from the Philadelphia area. My boy 757 US Airways. This is operating flight 1136 with service to Philadelphia. Then I got a MAX 8 that is already loaded up. It is just awaiting clearance for pushback. This is flight 2674 with service to Norfolk. And then on our taxiways, I do want to give a little explanation for those that are not necessarily familiar with the setup here. This is kind of a new setup, but so we have a dual taxiway system that goes around the entire airport, like in the ramp area, all the way around. So from E-concourse all the way to like the 1-8 center area, there's essentially dual taxi the whole way around. So what you're seeing right now is you got the orange line where that 321 is. That's the orange line. Narrow bodies, so Group 3 aircraft can taxi simultaneously, each direction. So if one's on the orange line, and then if there's like another 321 on the blue line, they can, taxi in a safe manner with, no issues. And then that middle yellow line is the Group 5 and up line, that's why Etihad was on that line. Obviously, when you got the big boy, the big metal coming through, that takes out the dual taxiway. But of course, we're very narrow body dominant here, so for us, it's still very efficient. But whenever there's a wide body coming through, obviously it'll take away that capability. But I did kind of want to explain that, and you'll kind of notice some areas throughout the video. There's markings for it. I'm trying to get the camera to focus on it, but it'll have the name of the line, so orange line, max wingspan of 118 feet. That's indicating for your Group 3 aircraft. I think it picks it up better there. But yeah, I did want to explain that just for those who aren't necessarily familiar with our setup here. Some of you may have noticed that, especially ones that live here, work, and see this on a daily basis. But anyways, for the last segment of this portion of the video, this is American Airlines Flight 2410 with service to San Francisco. Before we go through the next A concourse PR, I wanted to quickly go back, because I forgot to mention this in the first segment of the video. But I did want to note that on this particular A concourse pier, it's the 12-gate concourse. 3 of those gates are common use, so Alpha 10, which is the gate that is not being used, that is Alpha 10 right there. That is a common use gate, and then Alpha 12, where Lufthansa parked, is common use, and Alpha 11 is also a common use gate, and American Airlines has access to the remaining gates on this concourse. And then with that being said, on this portion of A concourse, where that Air Canada is in the top right corner, Alpha 22 is a common use gate. Southwest has 2 gates, which is A24 and 26. Spirit has Alpha 28 and 29, and then United has the remaining 4 gates. And now we will transition to the Southwest special livery that is pushed back and commencing engine start. And just for reference, that red line that goes across the ramp area, you'll notice it in each of the alleyways as we get through the rest of the video. But this is just indicating that engine start cannot commence until the aircraft is pulled forward of that red line. So this Southwest 73 MAX 8 is heading over to Chicago, operating flight 3561. To our Canadian friends, the Air Canada Embraer 175, operating flight 8748 with nonstop service to Toronto. Air Canada currently operates twice a day on E175s. Moving over to Alpha 26, we have the Southwest 737-800 with nonstop service to Denver, operating as flight 425. And before we get to our Uniteds, I want to hit this 777-200 real quick. It is on that Group 5 line, heading over to runway 18 center, operating flight 720 with nonstop service to Rome. And for this portion of the video, I'm just going to keep the camera right here for our Uniteds. We got 4 of them. So that United A319 that is pushed back, that aircraft is operating flight 343 with service to Chicago O'Hare. And then that MAX 8 that is on A27 getting loaded up to Newark as flight 371. The United Embraer 175 that is at the gate, A Alpha 25, is heading to Houston as flight 5618. And then the top portion of the video frame, you have the United Express Embraer 175 coming in from Washington Dulles as flight 6234. And as we did before, just get a quick overview of the last concourse pier at CLT for the ACONs. So that Sun Country that's in the top right corner of the video, that is gate Alpha 30, that is a common use gate. The remaining gates on the concourse, besides gate Alpha 31 and 33, where the Frontier is, they go to Delta. So Delta has 7 gates, Frontier has 2, and then Sun Country, where they're at, that's the common use gate. So with that being said, we will start with the planes over on the ramp area. We'll do the CRJ 900, if we can focus, there we go. This aircraft is operating flight 5308 with service to Little Rock. And then on the blue line, we have a Delta 717. This aircraft just came in from Atlanta, and it was operating flight 3037. And then back over to the orange line, we have a CRJ 700. This is operating flight 5391 with service to Peoria. We'll go up to the Sun Country. We'll keep the camera right there. So we have Sun Country flight 1648 operating to Minneapolis, followed by a Delta 717 flight 1584 with service to Detroit. And then this is that recent release Delta 717, so it's that updated mold with the antennas, looks a little bit better. They're both fine, there's nothing wrong with either one. But anyways, this actually gets transitioned to an A220-100 route pretty soon. Actually, they're recording the video. The 220 starts today on one of the later flights in the evening. But once we get into it's like the first or second week of May, the CLT MSP route for Delta transitions to A220-100s. Now, I'm not mistaken, I believe the 717 is totally done in Minneapolis, if I have that information correct. So it'll be nice to see some variety here, because that's one of the things Delta really lacks here. Is they have a Sky Club in this facility, by the way. You wouldn't believe it with the operation they have here, but they do have a very nice 14,000 square foot Sky Club in this part of the airport. They only have like 28 flights a day, and a majority of them are on either 717s or CRJ 900s, Embraer 175s. The only aircraft that we get that is bigger than the 717 is one singular flight a day to Salt Lake City, which is on a 737-900 currently, which leads me over to our Salt Lake City flight, which at some point, I believe in May, with Delta's update, they do a 321/321neo, so that'll be nice because I am an Airbus guy. I don't have anything against either or. I just like Airbus better, so I'm kind of glad that we're getting some scheduled 321neos as well. So that'd be kind of fun to throw in the video. So, anyways, this is flight 2070 with service to Salt Lake City, and then we have our Frontier out of the Al, just came in from Fort Lauderdale as flight 1984. And over here, we have Steve the Eagle, I believe is his name, operating flight 158 with service to Cancun. This is a new Frontier route that started, I want to say March 7th, March 8th, somewhere around there. It started out about 3 weekly, and it upticked during the spring break period. I think it was up to daily at one point, and the route doesn't necessarily end. It's just the season for it, I think, ends April 25th or so. I'm not sure if this will come back. I was told, I think it's a seasonal flight. It was labeled as seasonal, so I don't know if it's something that'll come back for a couple weeks in the summer from time to time. If it'll be more of like spring break, maybe winter type break later this year, I'm not really sure. But I did want to throw it into the video because the next update I do for the May month, this route won't be there, so I did want to just insert this just because we're still in April, and I did want to incorporate that into the video. So, but yeah, so the Frontier flight 158 with service to Cancun. Alrighty guys, so that concludes today's video of the continuation of my Charlotte 1-400 model airport series. I am so happy I was able to finally put this together and showcase it to everyone on the YouTube. And it's something I don't want to necessarily commit to X amount of videos per month of this display, but this is kind of something I do want to at least shoot for a once per month type update. If I can do more, great. If not, something's better than nothing. I don't want to, I've kind of caught myself into a trap in previous times where I've tried to commit to uploads, but just work, life, things just kind of take over, and I just don't have the energy to want to do that. But I think one update a month is something I'm going to try to at least strive for. But I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and please stay tuned. There's more projects on the way. I don't want to give a timeline yet because I don't even have a timeline, but I look forward to sharing more content in the future. And as always, thank you guys so much for stopping by for today's video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.